Hey everybody, what is happening? Ish Dela Ish, and welcome back to part 3 of my offensive ebook. I am running the Rams book, if you hadn't seen the other two series of this. And today I'm going to get into the I form, strong, and weak formations. So that's why this one's a little longer. It's got, three formations and a couple variations are going to be within these formations. So I'll get into this. You got the basic I form pro. This one I don't run a lot out of this set itself. The fullback runs out of the I form sets. I'll do those near goal line. This one play I will show out of the formation is just going to be a Z spot, and I really don't do anything with this one. Most of the time I don't show you stock plays. You'll figure those out on your own. I just normally show plays where I modify and how I read them. But this is just a quick little hitter. Normally that B route's open against a lot, so if you just kind of get a few yards, you normally hit that one again. You're gonna take a hit, so hopefully your catching traffic will hold on it, and then I will go to the fullback, and which brings me to. If you're going to run these plays, majority out of anything in this video, I really recommend getting a good receiving fullback. Franco Harris is probably the best to use. At least you get the blend, you get decent enough blocking. I actually use the Super Bowl Franco Harris, and then I just plug him in at fullback, and even though it's a halfback card, it still plays just fine. I'm not really sure how much the awareness drop in. It probably moves it to like a 92, but I still think that's better than using. But if you don't have a lot of money, by all means, just get the cheaper Franco. It should work out for you because we are going to hit the fullback on some routes in here on these plays. So, as you see there. And like I say, out of the other two videos, the single back, you notice themes in there, and this one's going to have a similar one. These sets... there are a lot of good runs out of that, like the tight pair. This is the next set out of this. It goes pro and then tight pair. There's a lot of good running plays out of here. So I'm not gonna. I'll show a couple, but for the most part, you'll go in. You know a lot of the plays and how they work anyway. They're fairly common. So. But I will on occasion point out a couple I like. And out of this, Power O is really nice, and the one I probably am going to run more is the halfback counter lately, and. Then you can mix in the dive plays and that, but this is a really nice running formation. Say if you want to go left or right, flip it either way. I find it works. I just kind of take a look at the formations and just you can use the number scheme to count the numbers, yours versus them, or just check for leverage and stuff. But other than that, though, this is a good base one. If I'm having trouble with my wide runs, my outside runs, typically I'll start going to the I form stuff and pounding that, and it actually works pretty decent against some heavy blitzing teams. Also, some of the runs in here, if you can figure out time or right, depending on what angle they're coming and what side they're coming off of. But I'll normally carry on my team Jamal with DeMarco Murray, so I kind of like a blend of both backs. So given how the game's going, I'll see. But typically I'll say these are DeMarco Murray type plays for me. This is what I'm going to run him on my scheme. So this is where I'm going to take the number 2. Either way, I want to have some speed. I mean, nobody really measures Jamal, but at least get 96, 97 speed for at least these type of plays. Again, if you're just going to hit the outside, the corners, and all that, and there he is squeezing through the hole. That's a little Barry Sanders-esque. And again, we're in practice mode, guys. Not everything's going to be a great. Some of these, a lot of times, just expect the 6-7 yards. Maybe you make one guy miss and you break them, but it's going to be easier here than head to head. Well, I guess depending on who you're playing too. Sometimes it's pretty easy just to run on some people, so it's all dependent. But at the higher levels, you're just. It's definitely a bigger difference in there. Most people stuff the run pretty well. So I'm saying you're going to have different results, obviously, than what I'm getting out of practice mode. I mean, I'm running all pro, but at the same time, and at the same time, though, the players that I would be normally using on my offense are going to outperform what you see in these videos. But this is just really to get the plays across. It's not really, not about showing off, but just to explain that in case for some reason you didn't grasp that concept. And the Power O is the other one here. So I'm going to, between the both of them, they're very similar. The only real difference between the counter and the Power O is a lot of times your tackle is going to kick out on the Power O, and you will sometimes have to go inside. Like he's going to let the defensive end or the outside linebacker, he'll sometimes drive him off the ball a little bit, and you just go inside of him. Like right here, exactly. Just basically there. That's going to that's how that the Power O is going to differentiate, and you're going to get that more often in head-to-head. that's going to play like that a lot. So that's why I do recommend running these in practice and stuff to get a feel for it. But and, just to know that some of the runs here we hit off the edge, some of them you're going to go inside the tackle spot. And when you figure that out, it's really it'll help your game, it'll help your run game a lot. And just also, I'm not hitting the speed burst until I'm through all that stuff. You cannot navigate well. So try and wait till you've navigated the hole first. And now we're in the I-form tackle over formation. The last variant here, and it's going to be the PA Power O is the first play I'm going to start running. And you're seeing on that play, basically, I will look at the fullback, as I was saying before, out of this one. But what you want to do with the halfback's kind of your own. Sometimes I will run the halfback on a wheel. Sometimes I'll block him. I do like the wheel option because it adds a different element to this. The only thing with that, though, the only downside is on occasion they will start crossing routes. So you really got to watch that timing between him and the halfback and the fullback where they meet at. But if you play it right and you get the timing just right, depending, no matter which one you throw to, the other one can make a lead block for you. So it is kind of good. It's a good and a bad one in there. But as you can see here, that Y can now be hit deep, though, if you let that play develop. If you have time for that to develop. Any wheel routes, guys, for what are you doing? They're really effective when you if the play can develop and they can get downfield. Early on, you always have to watch those people jumping them, but as on this one, really, so it turns basically into an RB, Y, and A are my reads. RB first, Y second, and then A, and there's the last one there. I don't hit that one as much, but if the other guy, if they starts picking up what you're doing, they're running guys out to the flats, and by all means, that A will be open on the backside of that. I normally will call these type of plays when teams are blitzing pretty heavy, depending on what blitz it is they're running. But these little nickel and diming sort of plays out there, which could turn into bigger ones, like the Patriots here have a crappy fullback to use. He's not any good. But if you've got a Franco type guy, you can easily turn one of those plays into big chunks. So and if they start playing up on that, we have a play for that also. So we're going to the other play here is the PA cross. This is also again out of the I-form tackle over, and this is the PA cross. We are going to motion the B receiver in. You have to block the X. If you take a look at this, X is a tight end, but yet he plays in the offensive tackle spot on the left part of the line. If you do not block him, you get sacked just a ton. So it's not optionable. You need to do it. So we're going to bring B in, though. I will typically block RB on there. And there's the A on the split. So it's going to be an A with a B and then a Y on this read. That's the three progressions that I'm using on this one. A, and then we motion the B in, and then the Y. Now, the B one depends. A lot of times people run cover 3. You're going to have to normally run in like an underneath pass on that, pass lead on that, typically, or something under them because they're going to be on top of the coverage. You might have to turn even face catch, come underneath them. So if you're not comfortable doing that, maybe it's not necessarily a play you should run. Because otherwise, you're just limited in your options. You can do it, but the A route's normally pretty good. Again, there's a little bit of time. This is one, I got to start making note of the plays that are going to be not well against a heavy blitzing team versus that. So just know some of the plays that are going to take a little bit longer to develop when you're running them. Even so often, I will occasionally make that mistake, and I know I call a play I should when someone blitzes and take a sack. So that's just stuff to keep in mind though as you're working the plays out. And I find, though, and if they're running something besides, if they're running like a cover 2 or something, that B route can start getting nasty like you're seeing out there, though. That's when that one can start getting dangerous. And sometimes he'll blow the whole top off the thing, and go for an easy touchdown. So it's just dependent on the coverage. And this one here, probably not going to be one you see unless you're in a, like a 3rd and 30 or something. That was more like a deep coverage zone they're playing. So unfortunately, you get that out of practice mode. And now I'm going to take this in here. And now we're going to look at the strong set. So I-form is done. We're going to move to the strong set. This is, again, not one that I run very often. There's I guess, about probably 2 pass plays. Again, you will find run stuff in here. I'm not going to really get back into those. They're going to be typical stuff that you see in a lot of the other plays and formations. Most people have some form of an I-form, strong, and maybe week. A few of those in their playbooks already, whatever you've been running. So you should be familiar with the runs that kind of work on that. This is going to be the WR wide receiver curls. So you got the wide receiver curls out there. I'm going to take basically the B receiver here, and you'll see that I'm going to motion him in. But I'm sorry, I'm not motioning him in. I'm putting him on a in route. I don't like the drag on this one because the A route takes longer to develop. The way he kind of runs the route, you can see he looks a little stop, and then he comes in. So it seems as though he takes a little bit longer to develop. I need to see if he's going to be open. And I want the B coming across. Basically, I'm just buying a little bit more time. That's why I prefer the in on that one. And as you can see there, if he's on the back side, right directly behind you or even a little bit above you, that inside lead is normally going to be safe. The time you have to worry is if he's trailing you just underneath. Even though you might be ahead of him, if he's just underneath, you're probably going to get picked off on that. So then you want to be looking at your other options here. So basically, this is going to be an A, B on those secondaries in here. But really, the first read, again, I'm going to go to is the fullback. So my three progressions here are going to be the RB, followed by the A, followed by the B. I'm hoping to get the other ones out, but if they give you the fullback, just take it. It's eventually going to cause people to change what they're doing. They'll eventually start getting upset if you're making that play. If that's the one they're leaving open, they will. People get annoyed at those type of plays, so they'll start coming up. And if he's bringing like a linebacker and he's trying to jump that route, he's going to leave that A wide open. So if that's what they give you, take it. I know the like I say the A route's really the hot one that you're trying to hit, but. Just nickel and dime, take what they get, unless you're in a crucial spot and you need the big yards. But I'm not sure if this is necessarily a play I go to on that one. And again, because the A route taking a little bit of time, and if he follows that guy in there, you're really left with nothing. So I will run it through the game, but maybe not at the end of the game necessarily in a big situation. And I know that's probably like the biggest transition when changing books in there. You learn the plays, but then it's like coming down with understanding the time to run those plays and the situations to run those. So that is going to be just something that'll take a little bit of transition for you to get used to when doing that. But I'm comfortable saying I know that this will work if you guys put the time in on it. You should be pretty strong on the offensive side. And now we're going to be into the last one of this. Is the strong. This is the tight FL drive. And this one, I will run this one stock. I do like to play enough I'll show it to you, even though it's a stock one. You've got a good route there. I like the angle off the way the fullback comes out in here. So you've got that on it, and the B route coming across is normally open pretty well. So I'm going to go with the RB, B, and A on these. The A, if you have time, that one's going to hit. It's going to be pretty well. Open most of the time, just the way the routes are. If you can drive off a couple of the guys with the wide receivers on the outside, which you should, he's going to cut underneath the cover 3 receiver also. So you can, depending on if you want to gamble or not, you can go into the fullback, the RB, and then just sit on the A and not do the B, or you can take the B and well, unfortunately, I guess I shouldn't say that. You can't really do anything else with that B guy unless you leave him stationary. You're not going to get the pre-snap motion if you change anything. So that's just that. But again, as you see here, I'm not getting any heat from them. So you see an A comes across pretty well, even if the cover stays over the top. You just make sure, obviously, not to throw that over the top of his head, and you'll be doing pretty well. And again, this fullback in the flats. This is the big theme out of all this. Even if they do key on that again, they're normally going to have to leave somebody over there, and you've won the battle. If people go out of their way to try and stop the dang fullback coming out of the backfield, you have won the battle. So we're now going to get into the week. This is going to be the final. Now the I form and strong are done. Week formation here. We're going to start off with the week close, and we're going to get into the PA power O. I don't run too much out of this. These are pretty much just a couple of the plays as far as the modified ones that I do use out of these. I know these formations are not the sexy, not the hot type ones that people tend to want to use, but don't sleep on these. They are pretty effective to mix into your scheme. I wouldn't run strictly them, but they are effective. Again, I have good success with them. We get a lot against I guess the blitzing teams also, and there we go again. Most all these plays are going to have this coming out as your first read in here. And so we're basically, he's going to already be, again, a pre-snap motion on him. So RB coming to the backfield. I take A and I put him on a slant. That's the only real modification I use on this one. And you can see they're hitting it. It's one of those, you just keep an eye on it because the routes can get a little muddled up if they're running like a man coverage or whatever. But normally the guys do not see enough time to break off of that, so you're still safe. Just normally keeping that one as a lead on the left and sometimes a little bit down, just depending on where the coverage is at the time you throw it, of course. So again, here we're gonna hit coming back across the X route. Last year I used to love that route. Really, it was one of my favorite routes. I had a great play. I think it was out of the Eagles book I ran, and it just killed people. I mean, all year nobody, it was one of the my money plays, one of my big plays. He just ran this and he cut across. It's not quite as effective this year as it was last year, but and a lot of it was the setup also. Depending, the formations I have are like tight ones, and I normally need to drive off the top while holding the middle linebackers down. And if you're going to run, these X type routes, you got to do something to sink those middle linebackers in, so that way it opens up that coverage right there. And on certain man and stuff like that, though, you've really got to get the timing down. So practice that one because you don't want to throw picks on it, or just avoid that if you see these covered on some of those. So again, here we're gonna get the pre-motion out. You're gonna have your flats followed by your A, and if it doesn't look good, that hole will open up. A lot of times, you get plastered by Reed, but a lot of times right when he makes the cut back in is when I'm going to release that, though, on that X route. He's going to cut left, and as soon as he starts to cut back right, I bullet that pass. Most of the time, guys, again, read your coverage in there, but that normally puts him right in a good hole. And again, kicking that out, you can see you're going to get big gains on this. This is, again, even though practice mode, it's a similar concept because it's all formation based. It's all play based. If you don't call somebody to be out there, and that time he was wide open again. But I'm trying to, at least give you an idea about where these other passes would be, thrown to and what they look like when you do, And as far as the running back goes on this one, you can. Whatever you want. This one shouldn't really be affected too much if you just block the running back, or I like to run the play on this one and I'll cancel it as I'm getting near the end of it, just enough to try and hold the players in place for the run, just enough. So, or you can do the full play action. That's up to you. Now we're gonna get into the weak pro twins will be the next formation. This will be the last one that we're gonna get into. There's probably a couple runs in here that I do like. I'll show you the toss week. It's going to be a situational. It's not like an overpowered run by any means, but I will toss this one in here. You still want to have a threat. The run game when you can, and obviously people are going to expect that in these formations. So if you do flip this play to the right, which I'm doing here, make sure and motion the fullback with you, because otherwise he cannot make that block in time. So just something of note. I was talking about flipping the runs before. I do like to flip this play, even though you've got the extra blocking on the left receivers, but they got a man on them. And here's normally how that one goes. Normally I have to cut that one in. I started up left, and I normally have to cut it in if I do go towards the receiver end of it. I normally get bigger runs through that gap. Pretty much fairly straight line once you go around there. I'm not trying to swing that one to the outside and have the guys getting wide and then spinning in. That one I'm trying to hit that angle and just go straight through it. The pass play here is the PA power O, which a lot of similar stuff. Now this time, when someone starts keying in on your fullback stuff, it's still going to have that route. We're not looking at the fullback this time. He's going to run around. He's going to get open, but you've got to have some plays here that you run this and you don't throw to him as your first read, just in case they're starting to key on. So if you run enough of these and start hitting that fullback, throw this play in after that. This is going to put the A on a streak, and I'm going to take the X and put him right there. You see on the drag coming across. So it's going to be an A with a B and then an X. It's going to be my read. So right there, a couple things are going to happen. Either A is going to hit the seam, or normally your tight end is going to drive those guys off, and B is going to sneak in underneath them. So again, you've got to hope that maybe the linebackers do hold underneath and chase the X receiver there, and it leaves you a nice gap. Right there again, you see that's the concept of that play. But again, we're going to look for the A though off the line, because you'd be surprised how many times a game that starts being open. As you saw in the other, if you've been testing out the other, the single back stuff, you'll see that opens quite a bit. And there it is again. Just the timing on that one. On this one, because it's close and tight and the linebackers line up really kind of on that, if you don't wait enough, the linebacker will just jump up and knock it down. Normally don't get the pick, but it's still, you got a guy who you knew was just about to be open, but if you throw it a little too early, it will get, if they have good jumping ability, they'll bat it down. And that time we got behind them. But that, again, is you're not going to see that a lot. But if you do run this formation on, like a, say, 3rd and 1, 3rd and short, and people expect you to throw, to run the ball, they might give you the opportunity to hit something really easy over the top like that. So I guess that's one thing to at least see, to know what you'd be looking for in those situations. And that right there, I let that B receiver come across. That one gets pretty nice also in certain coverages there if you let that develop a lot. If you don't see that over the top and you don't really want to check down, let it develop long, and you can normally hit a really good one there with the B receiver near the sidelines. And then, that's pretty good. It's like a 25-yard pass or so. So I do like that one also. But if you're taking the risk though at that point, if it ends up getting covered up, then you're normally going to eat a sack at that point if you do wait too long and you don't make that throw. So, and by all means, guys, take the sack. Don't throw the pick. Or throw. Obviously, if you can throw it out of bounds, you throw it out of bounds. But I will take them. It's just I try to keep the INTs down. If anything, even if a deep one, the game might have momentum stuff built in that we don't know. But I've noticed, you can be blowing people out and they get their first score. It seems like those shifts happen. You know what I mean? Just could be or not. But either way, let's not give the other team a momentum. So take your sacks, throw your ball out of bounds, come back, because we've got plays here to beat them. Even if we got, we can afford to lose downs normally. No big deal. And all right, if you made it to the end of this, I want to say thank you very much. I really do appreciate it. I will see you guys in the next video. We got the shotgun formations coming up next. So hope you all are enjoying this so far, and then that should be some good stuff. We'll see y'all next time.
Of the audience, I am the lyricist.